Hey guys, so Lord here, back again with another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Mythic Legions All-Stars 5+, the Back in Black Bone Man himself, Sir Illgar, brought to us by the fine folks over at Horsemen Studios. This, right here, one of the reissued figures in this All-Stars 5+ wave I was most looking forward to, because you guys know me, I'm Team Necro-Anonymous all the way, every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I love the skeletons, man. The skeletons are my jam when it comes to the Mythic Legions line, and when this guy won the All-Star vote for this wave, I'm not sure what place he came in. It wasn't first, that was Romulus. I'm sure it was somewhere between him and Azar. I think Azar was third, this guy was second, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, all that BS don't matter. We got him, he's here. He's back in black, just like good old AC/DC used to say, and probably still does to this day. You know, they make a lot of money off their hits, right? I mean, turn on any classic rock station, and I guarantee you you'll hear an AC/DC song within 20 minutes or so. That said, we're not talking about classic rock right now, or metal if you want to call them that. Surprisingly, not a lot of people do. We're talking about good old Sir Illgar, and Illgar is a skeleton. A black skeleton. A really cool looking black skeleton, if that. He is from Vikingfell, which is the northern region of the world of mythos. And I guess he's going to go pretty well with a couple of the characters in the recently, quote-unquote, released, we'll say. It went up for pre-order. It's not out yet. But All-Star 6 Wave, Skelly Bone Splitter, the Skeleton Dwarf, or as I like to call him, Strudel after my good buddy Strudelman, aka Toy Nuts, aka Brian Smarter. And then there is the Skeleton Raider figure, who's a bit of a, we'll say a Black Cauldron looking skeleton warrior character from that wave. So he will go quite nicely with those two. And the upcoming, should actually be up for pre-order now, Mythic Legions House of the Noble Bear versus Sons of the Red Star Wave, he'll probably go well with some of those characters as well. I do believe there will be some from Vikingfell, at least from the House of the Noble Bear, so that would be pretty cool. Sir Illgar is going to have some companions to A, do battle with, and B, fight alongside. So that is pretty cool. But, cutting right to the chase and getting into the meat and taters of this review, since we've rambled on long enough about how great this character is, even though we haven't exactly talked about the character himself hardly at all, other than the fact he's a Viking from Vikingfell. In the way of his accessories, he does come with the standard Mythic Legion sword. This is just the standard, you know, short sword. I don't know if you want to call it a broadsword, but it's a standard sword. We've seen it a million times. So it comes with the standard knife, dagger, whatever you want to call it. He also comes with the axe, which I first got with Juno the Crusher and the Cavern Dwarf Legion Builder 1.0, I think, had one of these. I'm trying to think if anyone else had one of these from Advent of Decay. I know it was probably in the Dwarf Weapons pack, maybe? It didn't come with Bromden Ironjaw. He had, like, the more ornate axe, like a gold blade on it, a gold head on it. I'm trying to think, did anyone else come with this? I know Cassia had it, but she came out in the Wasteland wave. And I think there's probably a couple other figures I have that have this axe, but really cool axe. I think it was the first time with this character that this axe was released. So pretty cool there. He does come with the wooden shield. with the removable handle. Unlike my Silverhorn Sentry, this shield did not feel like the peg was going to on me, so yay, I guess. There you go. Very He-Man looking shield. Probably why they included it with Adamon, who goes for buttloads of money now. He also comes with this Viking-inspired head sculpt, which I would not advise using on the skeleton neck peg, just because it's kind of thin below where the ball peg is, and you could snap it. So I would actually use one of the dwarf necks when it comes to this head sculpt, because of the beard. The beard's going to get in the way, so if you have the neck that kind of lurches the head forward a bit, I'll have a bit of a hunch, but it lurches the head forward a bit, and it'll kind of help it sit on this body, because he does have the big bulky spiked shoulder pads, and those can be a little problematic when it comes to these types of head sculpts. The wings, they do articulate, they do pop off, like so, and you can push them back in. There you go. But really cool. Like that a lot. I almost wanted to use this just because I don't have a lot of figures with this head sculpt, but the Black Skull, man, that's just doing it for me. That's friggin' awesome. And then he comes with a strap, which is not broken like my Shadow Orc. So there you go. I think this is actually the extra strap I had on my Azar, the Banana Cabana Yellow Demon himself. So I'll be giving that back to him once this review is over. But that's your lot for accessories. Pretty basic, but a little bit more than usual. He came out, I want to say it was Mythic Legions 1.5. Was it the first Kickstarter? I don't think he was in the first Kickstarter. I think he was in the second quote-unquote wave. But I don't think it was Covenant of Shadow. I don't think. I can't remember, honestly. But either way, we got him now. I think they made a lot of improvements since then to the overall quality of the joints. You know, he doesn't have floppy hips, so taking a closer look at the man in black himself. Look at this frickin' patina and rust and aged weathering on this armor. It is fantastic. I have a feeling if you had like multiples of this figure, no two would be alike. I could be wrong on that. I only have the one. The old man's got one too, but my old man, my dad, Mr. Brian, he's got one too, but I haven't taken a look at his to see if the patina's different. But it looks really cool. It's got like that kind of bluish, greenish tint here and there to show it's really old. And my dad actually has some old like Roman coins and stuff. It looks a lot like that kind of weathering. That is impressive that they were able to get that with freaking paint on, you know, PVC plastic. That's amazing. You know, the Horsemen are no slouch when it comes to detail, but this guy really shows that just a simple paint job can make a figure stand out. Speaking of standing out, he's got the Tibius belt with the little loop-de-loops on the side, so you could put his sword and his knife in there. So that's kind of cool. We don't see that very often. In fact, I think he's the only other figure that has this type of belt, if I'm not mistaken. So, very unique indeed. But as far as articulation on this guy goes, his head is on a ball joint. Looks up and down. Tilts side to side. Rotates side to side. Again, you're probably getting most of your rotation out of the neck itself. His shoulder pads do go up, so you can bring his arms out, which can be easier said than done, but they do work. And he's got the bolted on armor plates here, which that just looks all kinds of painful, even though this is just a bone. Literally, all they had to do was add like a strap to this, and then, you know, people wouldn't be like, ah, it's bolted onto their arm. It's straight up bolted onto their arm like some freaking Hellraiser crap. So that's kind of messed up, but they do rotate. He's got a single joint here, which I feel kind of spoiled by that Red Death figure, because he had like more than 90 degrees in the elbow. This guy's not getting, he almost doesn't get 90. You could kind of push it If you heated this and got it to kind of warp a little bit, you could probably get it past 90, but as it stands, you're not really getting past 90 with that old style arm. So I'm glad they've been making improvements to the articulation. That's nice to see. He does have a gauntlet twist, as well as a wrist swivel. Hinge in the hand. I will say, kind of like my Vampire Phalanx, his wrist on this side is kind of loose-ish, but it's not falling out. So, whatever, I guess. He does have the ball joint in the waist, but pretty hindered, all things considered. It is nice and tight, though. This belt hugs the waist quite nicely, so you don't got to deal with a lot of looseness there. His hips do kick forward and back, plenty of range because it is the bone hip there, the thinner hip. I will say he can kick out, but you gotta get up in there in order to get to that. No thigh cut, but that's okay. He does have a single joint in the knee with rotation below the knee. He does have a swivel in the foot with a hinge, as well as a rocker, and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. And that's your lot, man. Awesome figure. I don't need to tell you how awesome he is. We already did that. So let's gear him up, kit him out for size comparisons. Let's get this little knife in here. Put the sword in his hand. Right there. And then we'll give him his shield here. I'll have him with his axe for final thoughts, don't worry, but in order to do comparisons, he has to be flat up against the backdrop. And can't do that if the sword is poking my backdrop. Especially don't want it to poke a hole in my backdrop. I worked hard on this thing. So that being said, it's time now to move right along, and I didn't beat the heat. God dang it. Oh well, nobody's perfect. Last I checked, this was a free show. But at any rate, let's move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is Sir Illgar, alongside the previous two boneheads from the All-Stars assortment, the Mythic Legions line. We have good old Tibius to the left, and Scaphoid to the right, the Toxic Waltz skeleton himself. We got the Toxic Waltz skeleton, we got the Back in Black skeleton, Clavian's the Raining Blood skeleton, and Tibius is the Need for Speed skeleton because he's got the racing stripes on him. So I like my little nicknames for these guys. Really fun figures. If you're not picking up Mythic Legion skeletons, you are missing out, son, because they are really, really fun, especially when you get into the crazy colors. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the Blue Abadi Abadai Keltis, the blue skeleton there, the Skeletor homage. I'm working on trying to get one of those, kind of piece one together, but it can be easier said than done, you know? He is a figure that pushes 2 bills, after all. So moving these two out of the way. I still can't believe I'm almost done with the Necronominous faction. I just need the gold skeleton Legion builder, I think, and that's all the old skeletons pretty much wrapped up there. Of course, this wouldn't be one of my videos without bringing in my favorite skeleton. Ironically, the one with the least amount of skeleton parts. Good old Brother Mandibulus here. He's got the armored legs and the armored arm. He only has like one skeleton arm and then the neck and the head. So ironic that my favorite skeleton is the most covered up. It doesn't actually have the skeleton parts. Unlike his brother Malleus, who I don't have handy. He's sitting on the shelf right now. I should have busted him out, but he's got all the skeleton limbs like Illgar here. But we do have the infamous 11 Spawn here, who is big chungus compared to these Mythic Legion skeletons, because he's been eating plenty of sandwiches to stay in shape. Although, can skeletons really eat anything? I feel like it'll just go through them. Kind of like me. So, with that being said, it's time now to wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, I think good old Illgar here's a good example of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Even though I do approve of what fine folks over at Four Horsemen Studios have been doing to make improvements to the Mythic Legions and, I guess, Cosmic Legions lines, at this point in time, I like this figure for what it is. Yes, it's pretty basic compared to what we get nowadays, but sometimes that's good enough. Especially for less than 40 bucks, you're getting a figure that comes with an extra head, a few weapons, a shield, and a kick-butt paint job. What do you get from Hasbro for that? A piece of crap Spider-Man that's not even accurate to the game it's from. I'm just saying. So, with that being said, I don't think I need to say much else other than if you don't have this figure, or if you don't have Tibius and Scaphoid, I think you need to start picking up these skeletons, man. They are, as far as I'm concerned, some of the best figures I've bought in the past decade. And that says a lot because I buy a lot of stuff, if you haven't noticed. So, with that being said, until next time, hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll catch you guys later.